How y'all doing today? It's your boy Jermaine from Eat Right Guys Nutrition and Fitness, back with another video. And so this is going to be an interview with a very special person. It's June, so a lot of people are finishing their dietetic internships and they're getting ready to pass the RD exam. And if you don't know, it's very hard to pass. For some reason, the fail rate on the first time is gotten a lot higher than it was in previous years. So I have a tutor who's been very successful. She's been very active in my Facebook group. And every time somebody passes an exam, they always give her a shout out. So I feel like she was the perfect person to actually interview and just kind of go over her business, some of the things that she does in her tutoring sessions. And so I'll just pass it off to her so she can introduce herself and as well as how she became a dietitian to start off.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. This is great. I really um, enjoy being here because I feel like people need to know. They need to know how hard the exam is, and not that it's impossible to pass, but it is good to have the resources at first when you're getting right out of the internship and you're fresh and you're about to start studying. So I'm a dietitian. I became a dietitian in 2017. I actually did my undergrad. I graduated in 2015 and then my master's in 2017. We know now that we're going to need masters in 2024. So when I was in school, they kind of started talking about that. And I already knew that I wanted to get my master's anyway. So I was like, might as well just do it now that I'm like fresh out of school. I actually did a combined program. So I did my internship and the master's at the same time. So that worked out really well. I took my exam a month after I graduated from my master's and internship. And I felt confident because I did pretty good in school. So I was like, oh, I should be fine in the exam. And I took my exam the first time and I failed. And I was crushed and I was like, what happened? I actually got a really low score and I was just not in a good place. So I was already working as a dietitian in a school district. And I talked to my boss and she said, you're fine, like just try again. And I said, all right. So I scheduled it again 45 days after, and I only used one study guide. And I failed again and I felt crushed again. So at that point, I didn't want to take it again. I was like, I don't know what to do differently. I didn't know that there were any resources. So I actually talked to one of my friends that had passed and she suggested your group on Facebook. And I was like, I didn't know that there was even a group on Facebook to begin with. So when I looked up your group and I saw how active people were and how I wasn't the only one that had questions, I just thought like, I just felt so unknowledgeable because I had so many questions. But when I saw that so many people were in the same boat, I was like, oh, I actually have like a support group. So thank you for doing that because that's honestly the way that I pass. Like I needed a support group. Some people just are fine with studying by themselves and that's great. But some people actually need a little more or find a study buddy or a tutor. So that's what I'm here for.
Okay. So outside of like the tutoring that you do now, what else do you do as a dietitian? Do you have like a full-time job or part-time job?
Yeah, so I work as a per diem for a food bank. So I'm actually a per diem for the food bank of South Jersey, and I actually do translations for them as well because I do speak Spanish. So I am their dietitian, but I also do the classes in Spanish if we needed to, if they need to be in Spanish. So I do that part time, but due to this pandemic, I actually haven't had the chance to obviously go out to the community to do these classes. But now we're transitioning to doing them via Zoom. So that's how we're going to start to connect with the community again, because that's also important. Like the community is right now at a point where they're like, what are we doing with ourselves? There a lot of people are still home, they're not working, and a lot of just things that they don't know still about nutrition. So it is good that we're actually doing that. We're going to do like virtual classes for the community.
Okay. And so what motivated you to start becoming a tutor?
In school, I remember our teachers would always tell us like, keep your options open, keep your options open. And in my head, I was set that I wanted to become, well, first I wanted to become a clinical dietitian. That was like what I wanted to do when I was an undergrad. When I started doing my internship, I was like, I don't really like clinical as much as I thought I did. And I really enjoyed being a dietitian for the schools. So I did my internship, part of my internship in a school district, and that's where I actually ended up doing my thesis for my master program, and they hired me right away. So at that point, I was like, my goal is to become a food service director. This is what I want to do. I want to work in the schools. And it was great, but when I passed the exam, a lot of people, because I was so active in your group on Facebook, a lot of people started contacting me and they're like, hey, do you mind if like you tutor us? Like it was like a little group of people. It was like one other person and they're like, do you mind if you like tutor us? We're looking for a tutor. We can't find one for the RD exam. Are you willing to do it? And at first I was hesitant because I was like, I don't know if I feel as comfortable as I should to be a tutor. But then I was like, wait, I just took my exam for the third time and I improved my score by 7 points from the last time that I took it the time before. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. So that's kind of how it started. I was already working full time. So it wasn't like I took the tutoring like full time or anything. It was just kind of like I had like 5 people at a time, maybe 10 people the max. But now it's just been like expanding so much right now. And my husband always asks me like, how many people do you have? And I'm like, you don't want to know, because I'm helping so many people. But it's great because like the more the merrier. Like I just want people to have the resources that I didn't have when I was studying. And I feel like when we go through the internship, it's like we finished the internship and our university was like, okay, like see you later kind of thing. And they don't give us a lot of the resources that we really need after the internship is over.
Exactly. And tutoring is like, that's something that's just like, I think starting out, I think that's an idea that a lot of people haven't even capitalized on, especially as RDs, even in terms of like just the material to study for the RD exam. It's only like a few people that do it. Inman is probably the most popular, and then it's just a few others. Even like the academy just started putting out material. When I was an intern, the academy didn't have any material to help study for the internship. So I see this as like an avenue for dietitians if you don't want to do the clinical route or food service, just an avenue, just like in social media and stuff, that you can capitalize on to start your own business instead of just doing the traditional business route to where you're getting your own clients and you're doing like medical nutrition therapy. You have a ton of interns that are graduating every year that need help, that may not be able to afford materials to study for exam, or just didn't get prepared, like you say, in their internships to prepare for the exam. And so I think this is like something that's going to continue to grow, especially like with
Exactly.
your business.
Exactly. I honestly didn't know that there was such a need until I didn't pass. And I was like, wait, what do people do when they don't pass? Like, how do they do it differently? So my first session when I start working with somebody is an intro to how to study. So I don't do like a, a, a subject. I don't do like food science. I literally tell you how to break down the question because that's what's going to help you go through the questions and actually answer it right in the exam. Because a lot of the times I feel like it's not that we don't know the information. We know this information. We went to school for it. We're like the experts on this. But the exam is so complex and it really tests you on critical thinking. It's not even on like knowledge on the subject, which obviously we have, but it's more of like how the question is worded and what the question is actually asking you for you to be able to say, okay, I'm confident that this is the answer. Because a lot of times, and even I have students now that are like, I had questions where I knew that 2 of them could have been right. And I'm like, right, but the exam is asking you for the best right answer. That's why people sometimes feel like I did really good in the exam and then they still fail. like, yes, because you know the material, but you have to understand what the best right answer is to be able to answer it right.
Exactly. So, in terms of somebody that may be interested in your tutoring services, um, what are some of the things that they can expect? Like you said, that the first session is kind of teaching them how to break down each question. What are some of the other like formats? Is it through Zoom or Skype? How often do y'all meet up, and some like how like what would they expect from your sessions?
Mhm. Right. So I have individual sessions and then I have group sessions. So for everybody the first session is that the intro, and then after that you really decide if you're going to work with a group or you want to work by yourself, because some people work better with a group because they want the input from other people and see what other people think. Some people just really need a specific information and they have specific questions where we will do an individual and kind of go through that. But I have so what I use as my main resource is Inman, but I have a lot of other resources that people use. So like the CDR, the Eat Right Prep, like all those other ones that are also available, I have them and I use them as like sharing questions or looking at how to answer the questions. So right now I'm actually working with a group and we're doing a 6 week cycle where we're going through domain 2 for or domain 1 for like a week and a half, and then we go through domain 2 for 2 weeks because that's a little longer and there's a little more information on that, and then domain 3 for a week, and then domain 4 for like another two weeks, and then we just do like a summary from all of the domains. And then some people are taking their exams right after those 6 weeks. Some people take their exams a little bit later. So I do offer like group sessions just to go over questions or just to go over math. So it depends on where you are. But right now I'm actually working on coming up with days of, okay, this day we're only going over domain 1. This day we're only going domain 2. And then you pick and choose what classes you need. So if you know that research is not something that you know or you feel comfortable with, research is, all my students know that I love research. So if I can do a research session every week, I will. So just I have different topics that I go over. So if let's say, so tonight I have a food science and a community and education class. So if that's something that you're like, I don't enjoy food science, but I know I have to go through it, then that's the class for you, because I'm going to go through a PowerPoint, I'm going to go through handouts, and then everything that I go over, I will send you after the session. So you can have it for you to study off of.
Okay. And so, if there's a intern or student that's interested in your services, how could they contact you?
Right. So you can go to Facebook and you can go to my RD guide. That is my group now. And I post a lot of updates there. People post their questions, and that's where I kind of communicate with all of my students. I also actually just started my Instagram account, which I'm not that, like, what is it called? I'm not that like media person. Like I don't go on Instagram. I don't even have a personal Instagram, but everybody's like, you have to create an Instagram. You have to create an Instagram. Everybody's an Instagram. So I did. So now I'm at Instagram too. So my RD guide again. And then my email, you can contact me through email. So my RD guide dot, no, that's not my email. My RD guide at gmail.com. So you can contact me, just message me through Facebook, and then we can go from there. I probably the easiest way would be through Facebook, but yes, email is also fine.
Okay. And so I'll leave links down to her Facebook group and Instagram group at the bottom in the description. And that's a good start, definitely to Facebook, Instagram. Maybe one day you can start like a website or even a YouTube channel. I think an area that hasn't really been tapped into is dietitians creating their own classes just based off of like medical nutrition therapy. Because I get so many people that are like, maybe they're in a different profession and they want to become dietitians, or they just want to be exposed to like what are some of the classes they're liking, but they don't want to invest all the money in college. Or I even have high school students that want to know what is it like a nutrition class, because I don't know if I want to major in that. So the dietitian can start like actual online classes on the website, even if it's paid, just to kind of give you just like a general overview of what it's going to be like once you get to college. And then you can even use that as a resource. I think that's something that hasn't really been tapped into yet, and that could be a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yep, and that's actually like you like read my mind. I actually have a mentor, and that's one of the things that he said. He's like, now you have to do a website, which obviously it's working right now. It's in the works. But yes, doing that, doing videos. I'm a very visual learner, so when I was studying for my exam, I had to go on YouTube and just find videos on like how insulin works, because I forgot when I was in college. That was like way back in the day. And I was like, all right, I have to go back to that. I have to remember how the digestive system works. So I was looking at a lot of those videos, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, why isn't an RD doing all of these videos? And I was looking at like pre-med and nursing, and they were so helpful. But yes, I think that you're right. We should start doing that. And that's something that it's in the works. And I actually have two of my brothers that are graphic designers, and they're actually making all of my pictures because I want to come up with a study guide myself. Because
Yeah.
I think that that is just so important to understand it. I have a lot of study guides, but I had to dissect them to actually understand what they meant. So I want to have pictures. I want to have links to my like videos. I want to start like a YouTube channel. Like I have so many ideas that I'm just like, I just need time. But this is the perfect time. Like, and to all the dietitians out there and all the people that are studying to become a dietitian, keep your options open. Like don't just settle for, okay, I'm going to work as a clinical dietitian for 5 years because I need the experience. Okay, if you want to do that, that's totally fine. Definitely do that. But if you don't see yourself as a clinical dietitian, know that there's a lot of different ways that you can go. It's not just clinical, it's not just food service, it's not just community. You can do so much more. And like you said before, now with all this social media, there's just so much exposure, and there's just so much people that you can connect.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think your business is going to really blow up in like the next 1 or 2 years. So I wish you all the success.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
glad that you were so active in my Facebook group. That really helped a lot of people out. So definitely want to promote your Facebook group. So don't just, go to my Facebook group. Also go to hers and check her out. And like I said, if you have any um, issues passing the exam, or you don't really know where to get started, I really recommend her, because she's helped plenty of dietitians pass the RD exam. So this is going
Yes.
to be the conclusion of the video. Glad that you could be my guest.
Thank you
And
so
like I
much for
said,
having me. This was so great.
all right. And so that's pretty much the end of the video. And like I said, all the links will be down in the description. And if you're a nutrition student or a dietetic intern and you're concerned about passing the RD exam, feel free to join my Facebook group, RD Exam Prep. The link will be down in the description. This is where you can be part of a community that will answer any questions that you may have. Also, I have posted free notes, study guides, and practice exams. And there's also people in the group that offer tutoring services. And also, while you're at it, feel free to visit my Instagram page, Eat Right Guy, and you can visit my website, eatrightguy.com, where I have posted a variety of blogs on various nutrition and dietetics related topics.